But did you know when it snows, my eyes become blind and the light that you shine can't be seen? Baby, I'd like to pay you to a kiss for all the roses on the grave. Ooh, I know that. You gonna try that one? What's up, guys? Sorry for the gap in between videos, man. I've been just studying and helping a dear friend of mine with her Bitcoin journey, and I'm very proud of her, and also just very fortunate to have her in my life. It's good to have good friends, man, especially people that you can trust and good people. That's who you need to surround yourself with, and I love you. You know that. Have you guys seen this commercial?
You know what's interesting these days? Bitcoin. Look for Bitwise, my friends. Thought you would like to know. Satoshi sends his regards. Look for Bitwise, my friends.
Wow. Okay. The most interesting man in the world, right? Now, you know the memes are coming. Check a couple of these out. Right? They're coming, and they're just going to keep on coming. That's a nostalgic commercial. Most interesting man in the world. I love it. And that's just the beginning, ladies and gentlemen. That's just the beginning. And reason I'm making this video, I got a lot to say. I don't know how I'm going to say it, but I'm going to say it. First things first, in 2024, again, it's going to be one of the most exciting and scariest years, I think, in recent history. I think we're looking at a 1776 moment in this country. I really do, man. And I'm not being exaggerating about that. There are so many people in this country, and unfortunately, are just so uninformed and don't know what's going on when it comes to politics, money, health, and the overall government and what's going on in their lives, man. They don't know. And, you know, I do a little experiment sometimes when I'm out and about. You know, I have a couple of bucks on me or something. And I'll ask somebody, I say, hey, what do you think about inflation? You know, what are your thoughts on it? And then they'll tell me. And out of every 100, 99% of them don't know what inflation really is. And it's not their fault. It's done on purpose, right? And we all know what inflation is. It's the printing of money and the expansion of that said money, the cash, and it debases our currency. So it's not that the prices go up, it's that the value of your dollar goes down. And most people will say it's because of COVID, supply and demand, prices go up or whatever. I said, well, it's not really supply and demand as far as the goods and the services. It is supply, though. It's the supply of the money, right? It's being increased. It's more dollars chasing the same or less goods. Plain and simple. And when you try to explain that to them,
what you talking about, Willis?
They don't understand because they weren't taught that and they don't know that, right? Most of us didn't. We didn't grow up in school learning about that. We just knew that prices went up 2%. We got a raise every year. So what I'll do to demonstrate, I'll pull out a bill, whether it's $1, $5, $10, $20, $100, whatever it is. And I ask them, I say, hey, how many of these are there you think there are in the country or the world or whatever? How many you think? And they have no idea. Now, again, you can find out what's the M2 money supply, you know, by looking on the websites and stuff, but nobody really knows how much there is. And that's my point. If you don't know how much money there is, how are you going to know what it's worth? The only way to know that is by looking at the prices of the things that you normally buy. And if those prices keep going up, you know that the money supply is going up, period. End of story. They're debasing the currency. Now, as far as it goes with Bitcoin, because I'm a Bitcoiner now, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a former precious metal stacker, and I'll get into that in a minute. I don't knock anybody that buys precious metals. You're on the right path. You are definitely on the right path. It got me to where I'm at today, precious metals, and I'll always be thankful for that. But when you talk about Bitcoin, you know, I'll ask them about it, and they don't know what it is. They just know, or they think it's a cryptocurrency, some kind of number that goes up and down like a stock. They really don't understand what it is. If you try to explain it, they'll say, oh, it's some kind of scam or a Ponzi scheme or whatever it is. And the difference between me and them when it comes to Bitcoin is I put in thousands of hours of studying this. So they don't know. And I was like that in the beginning too. If you'd asked me in 2019 what Bitcoin was, I would have said, it's money for scammers. You know, you can go on the dark web and buy stuff. That's how I was introduced to it. I think it's 2017 or 18. I knew some people that would go on the dark web and buy stuff with it. So it's like some kind of hidden money and some kind of cryptic dark thing. You know what I mean? I never took the time to study it. Now, back then I didn't know anything, but 2020 changed my life. So when I ask them what it is, they'll say they don't know. And I'll tell them, I say, look, this is what Bitcoin is in a nutshell. It's money. It's digital, private money. It's not illegal. And it's the money of the internet. That's what it is, okay? There's a lot of other ways to say it. I go, look, the reason why Bitcoin is so valuable is because of its scarcity or its finite supply. There's only 21 million coins. That's it. So if you own one Bitcoin, which is very difficult to do today, as of this video, I think Bitcoin's around 43,000 or something like that. So the middle class has almost been priced out of Bitcoin. You know, unless you put a big chunk of your reserves in there, right? Even the millionaire next door is people that are have $1 million net worth, and you know they don't have $1 million in cash. So $40-something thousand of their however much money they have is a big chunk, right? So I tell them, if you have one Bitcoin, you have one coin out of 21 million that ever be created. And that's the difference between this $100 bill or whatever bill I show them. And there's an infinite supply of, we don't even know how many there are. The difference between that and Bitcoin. It's finite, scarce. Now let me talk to you gold and silver stackers real quick. And I'm not here to dish you or nothing like that. I started off with gold and silver, right? And again, I'm forever thankful for it. And it got me on the right path, because 2020, mine and everyone else's, it absolutely changed my life. Gold and silver absolutely changed my life, man. It just opened up so many things. Mike Maloney's videos and everything I learned about what real money is and the money supply and all the stuff that I know now, it gave me a good base of what's really going on out here. And I thought gold and silver were it for me, man. I thought I found it. This was July 2020. I was on the path. I had some cash. I sold some stocks and I kept some cash and I sold my portfolio. I was doing that before I got into gold and silver. And I bought a lot, man. I had thousands of ounces of silver. Literally, I had thousands of ounces of silver. And I was stacking it and then getting the gold and everything else. And then I realized that silver, to me, in my opinion, was a better store of value than gold was. It just was for me, because I felt like the gold to silver ratio in comparison of how much gold was coming out of the ground, I think it was like 16 or 17 ounces to every 16 or 17 ounces of silver, every 1 ounce of gold, wasn't matching the prices of 70 to 1 or 85 to 1 or whatever it is, you know, that it was. And so I just started getting silver, and it taught me a lot, man. It was the best savings I've ever had. Even with cash, I was good at saving, but I would buy things, you know, I would buy little businesses and stuff like that. And of course, you know, you got to buy income producing property, income producing assets and things like that. But just saving cash, I was okay at it, but I would dip into it if somebody needs something or I wanted to buy something. But when I bought my precious metals, I didn't sell those, man. So it taught me the base layer of money, God's money, the Constitution, written in the Constitution, what real money was, the history, how to save, and everything else. And again, I would be forever thankful for that. But at the same time, I started hearing about Bitcoin when I would look up certain things about monetary policies. And I just didn't watch gold and silver videos all the time. I was watching things about the economy and I was watching Kitco News and I was watching all these things, and I would hear about Bitcoin. I would just keep hearing about Bitcoin. I was like, what in the hell is this bullshit? Why does everybody keep talking about it? Again, I didn't know anything. So when I started studying, I was like, okay, cryptocurrencies are the real deal. They're the future. Started paying attention to them. And on February 24th, 2021, I bought some Bitcoin. I bought some Litecoin and some other stuff, some cryptos. And then after 2 months of really understanding the difference between Bitcoin and crypto, I quickly, you know, like I said, within 60 days, because I had it on an exchange, I had it on Coinbase. I didn't take it off the exchange at the time. I put all my cryptos into Bitcoin. And ever since then, I've been off to the races. And Bitcoin, they call Bitcoin the black hole. It literally is. I started noticing the more I learned about it and the more I saw, I couldn't unsee, man. And it wasn't just about the monetary policy. It was about what Bitcoin is, what it was built for, and everything else, and what it can do, right? And everything that gold and silver promised me to do, or promised it would do, Bitcoin was actually doing. It was actually a great store of value and everything else. You know, I still have my precious metals, still have my silver, my platinum. I had platinum too. And I was just like, man, you know, I kept looking at the prices, and every year, every single year at the end of the year, 2020, at the end of 2020, at the end of 21, and in 2022, and then now at the end of 2023, it's always the same thing with the silver and gold. Oh yeah, silver's gonna hit 30 and gold is gonna hit its all-time high. And the thing is, again, I came in that window on the timeline that we're all going across. I came on that timeline when gold and silver on paper, it should have skyrocketed. With all the money printing and everything else, it just should have skyrocketed, but it didn't. And I realized the reason why it didn't is because it's manipulated big time by the COMEX or the CRIMEX, the futures markets and everything else. They had incentive to keep the price down of precious metals, and they can. And when they're keeping the price down with paper, there was like, I don't know how many ounces of every real ounce of gold, how much actual paper ounces there were over there. I'm just like, wow, you know what I mean? They just kept manipulating. I'm like, well, if the money supply 5x, it went from 4 trillion in the United States, the M2 money supply went from 4 trillion to 20 trillion, and gold or silver didn't go from 22 to 100 or whatever it is, whatever that math is, 88 or 100 and whatever. And gold didn't go from 2,000 to 10,000 or whatever the math is. You know, why is it not? Or at least it doubled, or at least timed and a half. It just didn't do it, right? And again, I know silver was in the teens before 2020, and it went up to 20 something, and then it's just stayed there, and it went down to the teens too, I believe in 2022. But I'm gonna make a prediction for you guys. Gold and silver are gonna do that exact same thing it's been doing the last couple years. Silver will not hit 28. I don't even think it'll hit 27. Gold hit its all-time high, but if you adjust it for inflation, that 2,100 or whatever it hit, you adjust it for inflation, the real high is 2,500, meaning in purchasing power. Gold and silver barely, if they do, keep up with inflation, meaning the purchasing power of what gold and silver can do. It just does. So when I hear gold and silver stackers talk, I'm not saying it's a scam, but I think I was sold a false bill of goods, because a lot of times what they did was they sold me on doom and gloom, that the dollar's crashing, the economy's crashing, and I believe that, of course, but a lot of them didn't have solutions. The only solutions they would talk about mostly, not always, but mostly they would just talk about buying gold and silver. You know, put 5% in gold and silver. I'm like, well, what else do I buy? You know what I mean? I mean, honestly, and even the guys I talk to, and they mean well, you know, but a lot of times they just talk about the problems and they don't come up with the solutions. And again, I'm not dissing anybody that has gold and silver. And my grandma used to say, a hit dog a holler. If I'm hitting you right now and you're feeling I'm talking to you, then hey, maybe I am. But I'll say this. When you're buying these metals and stuff like that, there's nothing wrong with it. It's a great savings technology and stuff like that. But These central bank digital currencies are coming out, man. And when they do, in my opinion, gold and silver is not going to save you, man. They're just not. I mean, how are they going to save you? You know, I had a prominent precious metal stacker, friend of mine too. He hit me up on an email. I'm not going to say his name. He hit me up on an email and he told me, hey man, I've been buying Bitcoin and cryptos, and you know, I'm going to take that and I'm going to sell it, and I'm going to go buy some land and ammo and buy some more precious metals. Hey, you do what you want, man. You know, that's cool. But he hasn't really studied Bitcoin to the point where he understands it fully. And that's what I'm here to do on this channel. So in 2024, and I'm not dissing you, brother. I love you, man. You know what I'm saying? But you just don't understand yet. And again, I'm not sitting here saying that I'm the guru and I know everything, because I don't. I'm always learning. But you best believe this. I can talk to any gold and silver stacker. I don't care how many years you've been stacking gold and silver, and I can tell you why Bitcoin is better. Just fundamentally, you know what I mean? I mean, you'll tell me, oh, it's been here for thousands of years. Just because something's been here for thousands of years doesn't mean it's better, guys. You know what I mean? Horses have been here for thousands of years, and now we got cars, trains, and planes. And I don't see anybody going to the grocery store on a horse. Do you? There's a lot of things, candles, and without electricity, and, you know, books, and, you know, physical pictures that we've had for a long time. You know, people tell me in the gold and silver community, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. When's the last time you held a picture? You can hold your phone that has the picture, but I can just send a picture to somebody else. You ever sent a Polaroid picture to someone else and you both have it at the same time? I can send you a picture on your phone right now, and you can hold it and I can hold it. So, you know, that old stuff, that analog stuff, man. Again, I'm an old guy too. I'll be 49 this year in January 2024. And I'm with you, man. I like holding my stuff, and you know, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. I get it. We can't create a world that we want to live in. We got to create a real world. And here's what I know, and I told you this, guys, this a bunch of times. My children and my grandchildren and my nieces and nephews and all this stuff don't give two shits about precious metals. They just don't. And if I'm sitting here holding precious metals, I'm doing them a disservice, because if I die, what are they going to do with it, right? If central bank digital currencies become a thing, which I'm betting it is, and I hope I'm wrong, but if it does, because the probabilities say there will be, what is that gold and silver going to do for them? They just hold it and they're going to sell it and trade it in for real stuff? There's a small market of people that are going to take that stuff from people, guys. It just is. You're not going to transact in gold and silver. Okay, let's just keep it real. Okay? And I'm telling you guys, man, again, I'm not dissing you guys, because I love metals too. If it wasn't for Bitcoin, I'd have metals. But there's something that come around that's better, and Bitcoin is better.
This is the difference between Bitcoin and a central bank digital currency. Bitcoin is completely decentralized. There's no one founder or CEO which can program the money. With a central bank digital currency, it's basically a digital version of what we have now. There's nothing different to it. It's going to be entirely centralized in the control of the government and the central bank. So if for whatever reason you hold the incorrect opinion, they can just program the money and use it against you. So if you like the wrong thing on social media, your central bank digital currency will no longer work. With Bitcoin, nobody can touch it. It's entirely in your possession. You'll have a non-custodial wallet, and that is where you'll hold your Bitcoin, and nobody has access to that.
And that sounds crazy to you right now. It does. But I'm telling you right now, in 2024, or towards the end of this year, I don't know, you're going to see more companies, these ETF companies and all these big BlackRocks and ARK Invest and all these people, man, they're campaigning for buying Bitcoin and keeping on their ETFs. And the advertisements are going to be unbelievable.
I'm coming in hot.
Okay, that's just a fact. Let me tell you another fact. You're not going to see any advertisements, big advertisements telling you to buy gold and silver. There are some, of course. There's some gold and silver companies that want you to buy it and promise you the end the end of the world and the fiat currency and doom and gloom. But Bitcoin and Bitcoiners don't talk about that. We recognize the problems as Bitcoiners, but we focus on the solutions, you know, and living a good life, working out, believing in God, eating real food, eating meat and butter, and staying away from toxic vegetables.
What if vegetables aren't good for you? You've been told that vegetables are the best things to eat. What if this isn't true? Think about it from the perspective of a plant, and this will make way more sense. Plants are rooted in the ground. They can't run away from predators that want to eat them. They don't want their leaves and stems and roots and seeds eaten, or they won't be able to pass their DNA to the next generation. They do want you to eat their fruit, but they don't want you to eat the other parts of the plant. That's why, over millions of years, hundreds of millions of years of coevolution with animals and insects, plants rooted in the ground have had to evolve defense chemicals. Things like isothiocyanates in kale, which harm your thyroid, oxalates in spinach, which can lead to kidney stones, and furanocoumarins in celery, which can accumulate in your skin and cause skin damage. Vegetables, probably not so good for you. Meat, organs, fruit, the best foods for humans. Focus on those, get rid of vegetables. You'll feel better.
I know that sounds crazy. Staying away from a bunch of processed foods, eat foods that your body needs, and don't live to eat to live, you know. And they tell you about all the scams that's going on in this world, and then they tell you the solutions and the truths of those scams and those lies. And again, I'm not knocking this precious metal community, but I know a lot of people that listen to me are in the precious metal community. But let me save you guys some time. I'm not telling any of you guys to sell your precious metals for Bitcoin. I would never tell anybody what to do with their money. But here's what I will tell you. Study Bitcoin. The only difference between you and me is I know Bitcoin better than you. This is why I was saying I can debate any gold and silver stacker about Bitcoin. Because one thing I know, you may know 100 times more than I know about precious metals, which is, I doubt that because I know a lot about it. But if you do more, you know more than me. But I guarantee you the gap between your knowledge of gold and silver and my knowledge is much, much smaller than my gap of knowledge between my Bitcoin knowledge and your Bitcoin knowledge. And the reason I'm saying that is not because I'm smarter, is because if you're sitting here arguing with me, telling me that a physical money that can be confiscated, that you can't take through an airport, that you can't move around easily, is better than a money that you can snap your fingers and be there at the speed of light, and there's a cap, and you have no idea how many ounces there are. I mean, yeah, you have a decent, you could take a decent guess of how much constitutional silver there is and Engelhard bars and stuff like that, some of the vintage older stuff. But overall, you have no idea of how many ounces of gold and silver are in the ground. You don't know. You don't know how much gold is in Fort Knox. You don't know. You don't know how much gold is around the world. You don't know how much gold there is in the sea. You don't know how much gold there is in the asteroid belt or on another planet or anything like that. You just don't know, right? You also don't know how much gold has been mined today. You don't know that. I know exactly. This is the first time in history we have a money that was made to be money for the people, of the people, and by the people. It's not ran by a government. It's ran by us, the people, freedom seekers. And if you're against Bitcoin, I'm sorry, you're against freedom. As simple as that. This is the first time in history we have a monetary asset with a fiscal monetary policy that we know exactly how much money has been minted, right? Every single day until the halving, there will be 900 coins coming out of the ground or coming out of the mines or the system. They'll be mining 900 every single day at a rate of 6.25 Bitcoin every 10 minutes. Can you tell me that with gold or silver? How many ounces were mined in the last 10 minutes? You can't. Even the miners can't tell you that. Even the government can't tell you that. There's people all over the world finding gold and silver and everything else. You have no idea. Also, what the supply is. There are over 19.5 million Bitcoin that have been mined already from January 3rd, 2009 until today. That's how many have been mined. Just over 19.5 million. And then to the year 2140, it'll be 21 million. So a little less than 1.5 million will be mined over the next 116, 17 years. Can you say the same about gold and silver? You cannot. You cannot. Right now, Bitcoin is at the stage where it's a store of value for the most part. The reason why you don't care about Bitcoin, because you don't know about it, you think it's a scam, you think it's a cryptocurrency, but also most of you guys are in America. You guys got first world privileges. You have no idea how it's like not to have money in your bank account, or not to have a bank, or to have your currency devalued that every single hour or day or minute or whatever, that you have to literally go and check the prices because they're changing that fast. You think inflation in the United States are bad? You're spoiled as hell. You have no idea. Bitcoin is saving millions of people around the world. This is the first time in history you can have a bank on your phone, right? No government seizure. I can send you some Bitcoin right now, peer-to-peer, without permission. And it's put on the ledger. It's not hiding or nothing like that. It's right there on the ledger. And it's put from me to you within seconds without anybody's permission. And it settles just like that. This ain't Cash App or PayPal where you send somebody money and it'll show up on the phone, but it's not settled. You had to go through a third party to do that. And the fees are ridiculous. On the Lightning network on small payments, it happens just like that, very, very cheaply. Can you do that with gold and silver? Because remember, you can't, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. I don't want to hold anything. I do want real things. Of course, I want a house and a farm and animals and stuff like that, of course. But I don't live in the 1800s anymore when gold was being passed around. And we had little gold certificates in the early 1900s and silver certificates, or the actual certificates were backed by the amount of gold there was. That world doesn't live here anymore. It's not here anymore. It's not around. I live in a digital world where I can send you a photo. I can send you an email. Nobody writes letters anymore. It's emails. Who do you see walking around with cash? I don't see anybody. So again, guys, Bitcoin 2024, I'm here for it. I'm looking for some sponsorships for Bitcoin only companies in my journey to orange pill and wake up these people in 2024. I'm working with 2 companies now. I'm working with the Bitcoin Way. I'll leave a link in the description. You can click on that and you get a 30-minute free call, and they'll show you how to set up your Bitcoin stuff and everything else. I'll get into more of that later, but you can click on my link for that. And if you want to buy some Bitcoin today and get $10 free Bitcoin, you can go to Swan Bitcoin and click on my link and they'll give you $10 of free Bitcoin while it's measured in fiat currency. But again, I'm all about Bitcoin this year. 2024, I am not working a day, meaning I'm not going to do any DoorDash. I'm not going to do any deliveries, any jobs or anything. My job is to wake these people up in a fight for their freedom and sovereignty and individualism. And Bitcoin is the way, ladies and gentlemen. It's not the only way. That's the monetary way. Again, you got to stay in shape. You got to stay informed. You got to be a leader out here. The 2020s are going to be looked back one day, and they're going to be studying us like, what in the hell happened in the 2020s, right? Like, this is a crazy time. People in the 2090s or the year 2150 or something, they're going to look back at us and say, wow. And when you're in your rocking chair, if you're blessed enough to get there, what are you going to tell your grandkids 40, 50 years from now, if we're still around in 2060 or 2070? What are you going to say? You're going to say, I just bought some gold and silver and I hid my face and I complained about the world? Or are you going to say, I informed people, I showed my face, I bought Bitcoin and I changed the world? Which one are you going to do? Now, again, don't believe me about Bitcoin. I don't want you to believe me. You don't go, I'm just an idiot with a phone in my hand. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. This is why in Bitcoin we say, don't trust, verify. If you have your own Bitcoin node, you are verifying every transaction. That's another thing about Bitcoin too. Every transaction, you have your own computer that you are verifying every single transaction on the blockchain, including yours, because you're not trusting anybody, you're verifying it. Can you do that with the US dollar or gold and silver? I have my Bitcoin in the blockchain on the cold storage, and nobody can take it from me. They can try, but they can't. I sleep really good at night. When I had my gold and silver, when I went out of town, again, I have good security at my house. Safe, cameras, you know, the other stuff for security, you know, good locks, safe, camera, all that stuff. Alarms, hooked up to the police station. But I still didn't sleep good at night. I just didn't. But when my Bitcoin, I could turn all that stuff off. I don't keep anything in a safe or anything. It's just, again, don't trust, verify. Study Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen. When this ETF drops, and again, because every single one of you guys that don't know about Bitcoin and don't listen to me and don't study it, and the reason I'm telling you to study it because you're on my channel, right? I've lost a lot of subscribers on this channel because they didn't want to hear what I had to say, right? Because I didn't talk about metals and I wasn't showing a bunch of silver and having a bunch of silver and gold porn in my hand. That stuff's for the birds, man. You know what I mean? You're just sitting there not showing your face and showing your hands and showing precious metals. I'm way past that, man. I'm sorry. No disrespect to anybody listening to this. I just can't do it. I've had 8 confirmed. Now, I don't know how many unconfirmed, but I have 8 confirmed people that have listened to my channel, and they've told me because of me, they have sold all their metals. 6 of them did it before I sold mine. I am not telling you to sell your metals. Okay, let me say that again. I didn't tell anybody to sell their metals. But again, once you study Bitcoin and see it, you can't unsee it. You are sitting there with your gold and silver with so much value and energy in there when you can put it into the best and the hardest form of energy, and that's Bitcoin. And once you realize that and you understand what Bitcoin is, you don't have to carry it around because Bitcoin is everywhere and nowhere at the same time, ladies and gentlemen. I can leave this country right now, leave all my house, my furniture, everything, get on a plane and go and take my entire wealth with me with nobody even knowing it. I don't have anything on me, but I have everything on me. Again, can you take $100,000 through the airport? How about a few ounces of gold, a few gold bars, or 200 ounces of silver? Try it and see what happens to you. Again, these Bitcoin ETFs are going to be dropping here in the next few weeks. There's a 90% probability. Whether it drops or not doesn't matter. But when it does drop, and when they get approved, the SEC approves these 12 companies, you're going to start seeing Bitcoin everywhere. And if you're on my channel, I don't want you guys buying into Bitcoin. It's at $40-something thousand. It's a steal right now. They're giving it away. I don't want you guys buying in at $220,000. You know, stack your Satoshis, get as many as you can. There's 100 million in every Bitcoin. If you have 100 million Satoshis, one Bitcoin, you will put a millionaire in today's world, or today's dollars, to shame. Okay? So again, guys, 2024, I'm all about the Bitcoin. If you want to donate to the channel, you can look down below. You can, donate to my Cash App or donate some Bitcoin and zap them right there. This money ain't for me, man. It's for me giving away sats and orange pilling people. I know I haven't made a lot of videos, but I've been working my ass off. If I'm not orange pilling, talking to somebody, I'm on the streets here doing this stuff. And yeah, I'm going to have some affiliate links and some partnerships for some Bitcoin only stuff to get paid in some Bitcoin, and do that if I give you the information. But I'm not doing it for that. All right. I'm doing it because I want my grandson or my grandkids to look at me and say, Grandpa, what'd you do during the 2020s? I see the videos. I see all the stuff. What made you fight for everybody and fight for these things, Or I could be just sitting with precious metals not doing anything. You know what I mean? I don't want to look back with any regret. You only got one life to live, and then you live and you pass on everything to your children and your grandchildren. And the thing I want to pass on is freedom and sovereignty and individualism and believing in God. And honestly, guys, the only way to me really to fight for freedom is through Bitcoin. I love each and every one of you, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace and love, guys.